Hey guys, so Skye Nicholson will be on the upcoming Cordina versus Kenichi Ogawa undercard. Now I think we've just got to give Eddie Hearn a round of applause for ruining fight cards, because that's what the guy seems to specialise in. So obviously Eddie Hearn is trying to put a women's boxing match on every major fight card in the UK and beyond as well. So obviously on the Josh Warrington versus Kiko Martinez fight, Ebony Bridges was on the undercard, and that was genuinely the most boring half an hour of my life waiting for that to finish. It was absolutely shit. Ebony Bridges with her plastic tits flailing away at another woman who can't punch for toffee. Women's boxing is a disgrace, quite frankly. It's absolute trash. There are no good women's fighters, and I wish it didn't exist, to be honest. Now, obviously, Eddie Hearn's been trying this for years now. He was even trying it, a couple of years ago. And no one's ever liked this, but it's part of the agenda, isn't it? Obviously, they're trying to push women into every male-dominated sport, trying to push their feminist agenda, the breakdown of traditional gender roles. And they're trying to emasculate women, and it's absolute trash. Now, obviously, women can't fight for toffee, they can't punch, so these fights always go the distance, which makes it so much worse. They have no real skill. So as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, obviously Hannah Rankin had a fight recently against, I think it's a Mexican female boxer, and that Mexican woman I think she was in a coma, and now I think she's been taken out of it. So obviously none of the mainstream media want to cover this. It makes women's boxing look bad, of course it does. If you want to know more about this, go and watch Triple B's video. I'll leave that linked in the description. And that's all I wanted to say. I wish women's boxing didn't exist, quite frankly. It's trash. It just wastes time on fight cards. It's always on, the co-main event as well. Thanks for watching, and God bless. So I forgot to mention this in my main commentary, but obviously we had the Katie Taylor fight recently, and obviously that fight has been hailed as the greatest fight of the 21st century so far, as if that fight was actually any good at all. Now the problem is with these boxing writers like that absolute faggot Matt Christie, who pushes women's boxing, says they're better than the men, and all this absolute shit. And the problem is, the general public will actually listen to these opinions, and they'll actually start thinking women's boxing is actually any good, and they'll start saying, oh, sometimes this is better than the men. Like with them, I remember the Women's World Cup was on, and people see these journalists talking about women's football as if they were actually any good. Like the goalkeepers in women's football they may as well not even be there. They don't save anything. The shot power is atrocious, and well, they can't play football, simple as. But the problem is the journalists will actually push this narrative, and then you'll see people you'll just talk to normies, and they'll be repeating these narratives like, oh, these women's footballers could compete in the men's game and all this absolute crap. So it's obviously part of the agenda, and they're not going to stop pushing it. And that's what I wanted to say. Thanks for watching. God bless.